Hi folks. I can remember back in the day when we used to have separate test teams who would go and manually test stuff that the developers would basically throw over the wall to them. And then the testers started to get smart. They started to write test scripts to automate the manual tests so that they could save time. Now this wasn't last week or last year, this was 20 years ago. And today, high-performing agile teams just don't work that way anymore. Nowadays, and I'm hoping you're in this case, testers work alongside the developers in the same teams. But that said, I still see quite a lot of hangover from this old siloed mentality, from this siloed mindset where testing and development are still quite separate activities, even within the same team. Testers are still writing test cases, trying to automate them after the work gets finished. Testers are still talking about test scripts and test reports. And in many teams, stories or even whole features get delivered before any automation happens. And that's bad. That's not optimal, because what happens is that slows you down. It piles up this technical debt. It means that you can't do continuous integration. You can't do DevOps. You can't speed up delivery. You can't leverage automation for your developers. You can't leverage automation to streamline your development process and streamline your throughput. In fact, the opposite is true. When defects do get found in these test scripts get automated way after the fact, from a developer's perspective, it's bad news. It slows you down. If I'm a developer, I'm coding, I'm working on a new story, and a new defect comes in, I'm context switching. I'm changing context. I'm needing to go away and do something else. And that slows me down. So that's not good. So what you want to be doing is not thinking about writing a test automation framework. I don't want you to build a test automation framework. What you need to be building is a test collaboration framework. A framework that's designed from the outset to get people communicating. A framework that's designed from the outset to get business describing requirements in a way that can also be run as a test, designed from the outset to get business to participate in understanding, participating, even writing the tests. Another word we use for this approach is executable specifications. But the word specification still feels a little bit command and control-y. So I quite like the concept of a collaboration framework rather than an automation framework. And it really emphasizes the idea that the team needs to collaborate to build up this set of executable specifications. You see, the whole concept of a test framework, the concept of test suites, the concept of automated tests is way too anchored in the testing space. And that makes it very hard to get developers to participate when you want them to participate in automation. It gets hard to get business buy-in. It even gets hard for management to get management buy-in on the value of automation. But if you flip that round and say, this is a collaboration framework, it's a game changer. It means that you are talking in terms of, I want to get the whole team to collaborate, to agree on what we are trying to build, to agree on what business rules we're trying to implement, what the edge cases are, what the constraints are, what the acceptance criteria are, and then we go and put that in a form that can actually be executed. You've got this beautiful sweet spot where you have simultaneously this thing which is at the same time an acceptance criteria, so it defines what your story has to do. It gives your developers an idea of where they need to go, but it's also documentation. It tells your users what the features are actually doing at the minute. But it's also evidence of what's actually being delivered. So your management's happy. You get evidence that a feature has been delivered that actually makes automation hugely more valuable. So to be fair, this is actually not a new approach. I mean, I was actually doing this 20 years ago in an insurance company where we used an Excel spreadsheet with about 6,000 cases of car insurance premium calculation. So we ran that through JUnit. This approach didn't really have a name at the time. It was just something we did. The business were writing these cases and we were executing them. And so we got a much faster feedback loop. And I've heard lots of other places who were doing the same sort of thing. But Still, even today, I don't see it done enough. It's a game-changing technique. It's hugely powerful, has massive impact on your throughput, on your productivity, and on the quality of what you deliver. But from my perspective, I'm not seeing enough teams doing it. Anyway, I do talk about these concepts and the differences between a test framework and a collaboration framework in a little bit more detail in our Agile Test Automation Playbook that you can download on the link under the video. So check it out. I hope you'll find it useful.